Okay, guys, it's early in the morning. I'm just got up and I decided to make a video which has to do with alcohol and has to do with amnesia and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Intoxication and stuff like that and how it affects you. I'll just start sharing the screen. Okay, so we've got this first one, improvement of impaired memory in mice by taurine. So this was in 2000, and they looked at the taurine was extracted from Pegasus laternarius cuvia. That's one of those flatfish. You know, taurine is high in fish products, just for general knowledge, to study the effects of learning and memory in mice. Mice were treated with different doses of taurine, 10 milligrams per kilogram, 20 milligrams per kilogram, or 40 milligrams per kilogram. Now, just to clear that up, what would that be in human doses? We will look at a 70 kilo person, which is 2.2 times, which is 154 pounds. So think 154 pound person or 70 kilos. I'll stick to the metric system for this video, and those who have still not evolved and still cling to the old systems, well, you'll have to do your own conversions in your own head. Anyway, so 70 kilos. So when we're looking at 10 milligrams, we're looking at about 0.7 of a gram. So 700 milligrams. So nearly a gram. And obviously that's double. So that's 1400 milligrams, which is 1.4 grams. And again, that's a double of that. So, or 2 at the top, the 40 milligram per kilogram is around about nearly 3 grams in human equivalent levels. Okay, so we've just got some sort of reference in terms of human levels. The mice were treated with various chemical agents, pentobarbital. So that's what is it? That's one of those sedative type drugs that people may take for whatever bloody reason. And cyclohexidine, which is the sort of like a it's like a natural occurring fungicide or something there, along those lines. Sodium nitrate, well, that's well known. Why am I not selecting that? Okay, selecting it. Which is basically what they put in. So I don't know why they included that in processed food. And alcohol, our lovely substance, to disrupt the normal memory process. We measured, let me just move that slightly. We measured the effects of taurine on step-down latency and escape latency. So when I say SDL, I'm talking about step-down latency, and EL, escape latency. So how groggy were you? In a passive avoidance task after 10 or 30 days. Treatment with taurine alone did not change either SDL or EL. That doesn't surprise me. If you're drunk, you're drunk. Taurine protected mice from the memory disruption induced by alcohol, pentobarbital, sodium nitrate, and cyclohexamide, our fungicide thing, but not various effects on motor coordination, exploratory activities, or locomotor activity as measured using the rotor rod test and the whole board test. We know those things that they get mice to run through and run around or whatever. we conclude that taurine can be effective in attenuating the amnesia produced by these substances without compromising the behavioral aspects of the animals tested. Okay, so let's go to the data, because always the data is the most important. They're getting, just in terms of statistically significant, they are getting very statistically significant measurements in p-values in comparison to the control, which is good. Some of these values, as you can see, they do put these values. So there was significant, but not highly significant. That was a highly significant. That was a highly significant. So it's a bit annoying that we do have these variations, but anyway, we'll just have to go with what we've got. So the effects of taurine treatment in mice receiving 40% ethanol or water. So you're either on the water fluid, or you're on the alcohol fluid with 40%. That's, most people are not consuming, unless you're basically hitting the strong spirits, you're not basically consuming those sort of levels. So it's pretty high. So when we're looking at the control, as you can see, these are the taurine groups. The control, there was quite a bit of a difference, jumping from 3.6 to 5.6, 3.2 to 5.9. So as these animals got further intoxicated over a longer period of time, they got worse. And the animal that basically was not having any alcohol got slightly better, slightly, statistically insignificant, very close. Anyway, with the 10, 20, and 40 dose milligrams, we're looking at, here's the actual, these are where the animals started, and this is where they've actually ended. And we've actually can see here 4.1, 3.5, 3.3. So here you can actually set those slightly higher. Yes. Anyway, I'll just look at the 40 here. There's not much of a difference. And when we're looking at these dosages, the lower dosages, it's still better than the at 30 days. So between that and that, there's not a big difference. So even at the low dosages, it seems to have some level of, close to a gram, some level of protection. Obviously, it improves even better if you're slightly higher. And at 30 days, this group basically actually improved even further. They went down compared to the 10 days. So the longer you're actually on taurine, it seems, the better the results, even though you may be abusing alcohol or some of these other things. This is not basically a license to basically do that. It's basically to provide some information on some of the protective benefits of taurine in these regards, which I'll discuss later on. So memory and taurine. So as we can see at 10 days, that's the control. We can see even at the these, and these are all, that is a very statistically significant 0.0001, so that's really good. And at that level, so here where they're combining the taurine and all that, here they're basically not. They're just giving the drug with the sodium. That's a sedative. So at this level, we can see you're still not getting back to the levels of the control, but you're significantly better. and that is in the step down. In the escape latency, that's a bit much better improvements. And you also, at these high levels, you've got statistically very significant numbers, p-values, much better than these ones. So, and that's getting closer to where the control is, which is a good indication. That's at 10 days. This is at 30 days. And at 30 days, you can see, we're getting much more closer. Now, obviously, they only went to 30 days. So what would happen at 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 days? Would the levels continue to improve? Maybe they would plateau out at this level. I don't know in that regard, because we didn't go. This is only up to 30 days. So here we've got pretty much, really, that was when it dropped slightly below, if you remember, 3.9 to 3.7. So that's pretty good in that regard. And that's got a very good p-value as well. These are, again, you can see at 10 days, and we can see these differences, step latency again. And when we're looking at 30 days, the improvements are dramatic. And again, really good. So the 10-day difference is an improvement, but the 30-day differences, and this is even with, these are the different things that we're looking. So that's the fungicide type thing. And our favorite one, and here's the alcohol thing. At 30 days. Compared to the drugs, alcohol did much better at the escape latency, but at the step down latency, we're still not getting at those higher levels, which we're getting with some of the other drugs. So when we're looking at the, let's go right up here. So when we're looking at, something like a sedative, something like that, we're getting far better results compared to, and with the sort of that fungicide type thing that's that can be produced by a bacterium, streptomycin, I think it's something along those lines. So we can see better improvements, but even, alcohol, you're not getting as the same improvements. And I suspect because that also, remember, there's the other side of alcohol, which is the cytochrome P450, which is the detoxification pathway in the liver. And that's another element that obviously is quite clear here. So really you have to be, if you look between alcohol, these levels, the control, obviously, you get dramatic improvements when you're at 3 grams equivalent human, but still you're not getting back to the actual control level. So alcohol's the, it does improve, but it basically doesn't, you'll still have some effect. And I suspect that is due to the cytochrome P450. So at 30 days, so 10 days, we don't, when we're looking at the escape latency compared to the two, see when we're looking at 30 days, we see a dramatic improvement even over the control at this high level. So it's just basically at the step down latency that we don't see as same level, but that's to be expected. Even the other studies showed a much stronger effect on the escape latency rather than the step down. So, which is fair enough. And it was also statistically significant of 0.0001. So I can, you know, I'm very comfortable with that. That's a really good result. There's another study that actually was done in Brazil looking at zebrafish being intoxicated, so to speak. I'm not going to go through this. If anybody wants it, email me. I'll just go slowly through here. So if people want to read it off the screen, they can pause, so to speak. That's why I'm only doing it. So it saves me having to email it out. We're halfway there. There's a song about that. Now, I would say to people, so it's an awful, they always euthanize the poor little buggers. Right at the end, they get done. And that's pretty much it through that study. Now, it's not a license to basically abuse alcohol or drugs or anything like that. That's not what this information is about. The problem is we do have family members who do abuse alcohol, who do abuse drugs, and until they basically find their footing, we can basically provide them with some protection. Remember always, this is not medical advice. They should always consult a doctor in regards to any consumption of supplements of any sort. They should also be adjusted. So always the blood pressure issue comes up. It's not so much, look, if you're not on blood pressure meds, you don't have to worry about this. It's only for people who are on blood pressure meds that need their meds adjusted. So I know that people have actually asked me about taurine and blood pressure. If you're not on blood pressure meds, not an issue. You know, step it up, that's fine. But if you're on blood pressure meds, you need to basically, beyond 2 grams, you need to basically adjust your meds. Simple as that. So just to clarify that point, because some people have actually asked me, you know, it has to do with people on blood pressure meds. Nothing to do with people who are not on blood pressure meds. I take high doses like 3 grams with, you know, a couple of grams of citrine, a couple of grams of choline a day together, which is very lowering in blood pressure in one hit. So, you know, I'm not even spreading it out or anything like that, but I'm not on blood pressure meds, so I don't have to worry about that sort of stuff. But if somebody's on blood pressure meds, that's when it can become an issue. So that's when I say you have to step it and have to make adjustments to your meds, which only a physician who's trained to basically measure and make adjustments can do that. So it's not my role. It's just basically a warning, basically, because this is not medical advice, but it's a warning that when you do if you do decide to use taurine and you're on blood pressure meds, you need always to consult a physician and make adjustments, basically. That's basically to cover my ass as well in that regard, in terms of not basically providing medical advice, but basically providing basic scientific information which people then can action with their physician. So I hope this information is useful to some people or to family members that may be struggling with both drug or alcohol addictions and need something to basically support them in terms of the negative side effects that come with those sort of conditions and those sort of abuses. So this is not basically in any way promoting, go out, take your B vitamins and take your basically taurine and basically go out for a binge. That's not what it's about. It's about to provide information, actionable information for people who have, true addictions and are struggling and need something to support them, to help them out. Ultimately, you need also, things like choline as well that helps, and alpha-lipoic acid to support the liver side of things, and possibly even milk thistle, to support those enzymatic pathways that are affected negatively by drugs and alcohol. Different people, and also there's a detoxification pathway. When it comes to drugs, my body can quite clearly, it's got, on the U curve, most people are in the middle. There are people that are, that have got longevity sort of capacity, usually on that side. And, but that doesn't mean that, if I abuse my body, I abused it with seed oils and everything, that I still got cardiovascular disease just because I've got longevity genes. That just covers 25%. Lifestyle and everything else covers the remainder. But there are other people that have got very poor detoxification. They may need more, like taurine, choline, milk thistle and things like that to support them, berberine and things like that. And that will be, different for different people. But taurine is a significant element that can be used with people that have got, alcohol and different drug type dependencies. So it's just another element that can be thrown in there to assist and help. But the ultimate goal is to try and get people off those substances. Ultimately, that's for a carnivore diet that tends to basically increase. And that's the other thing. Taurine also increases GABA. It reduces excitatory, effects in the brain. It actually calms the body down. That's what a carnivore diet does as well. You're calmer because of being on a healthier animal-based diet compared to a vegan who's basically agitated all the time because they're lacking in taurine, they're lacking in animal products that are very important for calming the body. So this is just another element to throw in there to help people that are struggling or their family members that are struggling. I hope this information is of some use to some people. Anyway, see yous.